Hello everybody. Welcome to an informal roundtable discussion based in or on Anulo. We're just we're not playing today, we're just sitting around shooting the shit. I'm joined in my living room by Michael, who plays Jamu.
Oh, Jamu.
Jamu. I've got Corinne on the screen behind me. She plays our elven druid, Sylviana. And then we've got Alasia on the end. She's just joining us to hang out, and we'll get into some stuff later on about that. So, basically the whole point of what we were going to do today was kind of talk about stuff that we did in season 1 because it was on Twitch only, and most people didn't get to see it. And I've had a couple of people ask me about what happened in season 1. We got dropped in, like the Sun Chase was happening, but this was already an established group. How did they get to where they were? So we were going to talk a little bit about what happened in season 1. We'll do a little bit of question and answer type stuff as well.
Yep.
So if anybody is
currently
on Twitch, they can most certainly.
What's your question?
Yeah, you can put your questions in chat, and I will do my best to answer them. Assuming I can bring the chat up. There it is. Okay. So I got the chat up. It's on my phone now.
How do we want to start this?
That's a good question. What do you guys think? Oh, we are not professionals. Please try this at home. Play Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or whatever your tabletop game of choice is with your friends and family. Should be a good time. Unless your airship mysteriously stops working, falls out of the sky, and everyone dies.
Speaking of which, we never did figure out what happened.
Try to suss in where that happened.
You've had that happen before?
Again, yes.
Yeah. No, it's a thing, man. Sometimes rocks fall from the ceiling and everybody dies. Thanks for posting that we're live on Facebook too, by the way. I totally forgot. All the social media stuff is new. Speaking of the social media stuff, like, subscribe. You can find Xenon Game Labs on Facebook and Twitter now, as well as Twitch and YouTube. Videos get uploaded to YouTube on Monday, sometimes Tuesday. And we stream every Sunday, almost every Sunday, at 3 p.m. Mountain Time.
Except when we don't.
Except when we don't, right. And that's what the Twitter's for. That's to try to keep everybody up to date on what's going on. We may be joined at some point by other members of our party, but we don't know. Like I said, this is very informal, and we're just we're going to do shit and see what happens.
Exactly.
Does that sound good to you? Okay.
Yeah.
You guys good with that? So, to start, Corinne, should I just read it?
Just read the thing.
Just read the thing. All right. All of the modern historical and mythological accounts reference a nearly apocalyptic event, commonly known as the Fall, which, as closely as can be calculated, happened somewhere around 10,000 years ago. Specifically, this was when unknown forces of terrible power caused our planet's third moon of Shelik to be shattered, and a massive portion of the satellite crashed to the surface of Anulo. From there, the records become varied and unreliable, but what we do know for certain is that the world was cast into a long period of unending darkness due to the catastrophe. Through the actions of a legendary group of heroes, the Dawnbringers, the persistent night was vanquished, and the light of the suns once again shone on the land. Their headquarters at Hodo Nolan stood for 2 centuries as the premier adventurers guild in all the land. But the darkness had been vanquished, and the world entered a long and much-needed time of peace and prosperity. Adventurers were no longer needed. So Dawnbringer Hall was abandoned and all but forgotten outside of bard's tales told by roaring tavern fires. That's not even the word that normally trips me up in this.
Yeah.
No.
About 10 years ago, a surprise invitation was sent to the four corners of Anulo seeking aspiring warriors and explorers to become a new crop of Dawnbringers. This is the call that your party has heeded, and you now await your first mission.
By the way, you read before we hammered on it for 3 hours.
Yeah, I realized that like halfway through it, that's the old version of the introduction. But,
Whoops.
yeah, my bad. Spend 3 hours just like getting the wording exactly perfect, and then I pull up the wrong one. Neat. Oh, neat.
I think...
Things first happen.
I mean... We could either start with like some character... We could start with the character introductions we did, and like did some do some behind the screen.
Behind
the screen kind of stuff.
Fancy.
And or we could like just be like, okay, just do a generic recap.
I mean, what do you think?
I would be really interested to hear a retelling of all the stuff that happened before the team went to Daid.
Yeah, because when we first started, Corinne wasn't playing. Sylviana wasn't part of the group until, how many sessions in was it? Do we even remember?
Jesus Christ.
We've been playing for...
It's been a bit.
We've been playing for about a year now, I think.
Oh, we've been playing for over a year.
She came in about 5-6 sessions.
5 or 6 sessions in.
Yeah, we weren't like really far into it, but we were...
You guys...
I know I guested as bully.
Yes.
For one way up north.
Here, watch out.
Oh, yeah, special visit from Okanady.
Not this one. I have... Yeah, Okanady's here, but he's just milling around.
I don't know what...
There's a 20-foot tall tree just mill around.
Well, because right now he's not Okanady, he's Patrick, so...
Yeah, he's just getting some ice for a very sickly mother, I believe.
No, she's...
Yeah, she's not feeling great.
She's good. I mean, she's not good, but I got her taken care of already.
Alright, so I'm all the way back in the very beginning of a really, really early notebook here. So when we started, we had Michael playing Jamu Jamu, Wee Patrick playing Mark, our cleric, Melissa's playing Celine, the bard, and then Patrick's playing Okanady, the wood elemental tree monster barbarian. They didn't all start in Hodo Nolan. Basically, the beginning of it was I told all of them, you got this invitation from Dawnbringer Hall, which is this legendary adventurers guild that everybody knows about, but they haven't really had any adventurers for, several thousand years at this point. It's been a while.
I think I kind of remember like I remember the introductions very vividly. You rolled to see which character you would introduce first.
Yeah, I randomized which
So
character.
Mark and Jamu grew up in Dawnbringer Hall.
Right, but when we rolled, I believe we started with Okanady.
We did. We entered on it started with a ghost ship attack, actually.
That's exactly, yeah.
Okanady was traveling to Hodo Nolan from a nearby Viking/pirate village, Loki's Vengeance, aka the Loke.
Which you guys have been to now.
Mm-hmm.
As
And
part of the Sun Chase.
the ship rolls through the fog. Okanady's talking to... God, I can't remember who. Was it the captain?
It was Jack. It was Jack the Red.
Thank you.
Who is part of the Light Brigade now.
Yeah. And basically this ghost ship and its crew of skeletons attacked the ship, and me and Patrick got really into this fight between a skeleton crew member.
So
and
so what ended up happening was, originally in the notes here, they're sailing to Hodo Nolan. They get attacked by this ghost ship that's crewed by pirates. Okanady was basically supposed to be one of the only survivors. Red Jack was supposed to die. Most of the crew was supposed to die.
and then you rolled...
And it didn't go down like that. So instead, Jack lived because Okanady saved him heroically. And then the ship's... 2 members of the ship's crew that really just should have been wiped out by these skeletons.
One and done
Rolled
characters.
fantastically. Yeah, they're supposed to be throwaway NPCs, but that's how we ended up with Flynn and Errol.
Yeah, that are
Because
now part of the Light Brigade.
they're now members of the Light Brigade and kind of central NPCs to a lot of the things that are going on. And it's just because they rolled so well against these skeletons.
Oh, I got so excited.
You guys were into
I
it.
think I remember that the skeleton crew member, I can't remember if it was attacking Flynn or Errol, but the skeleton crew member had a bow that string broke, so he couldn't fix it. So he used it as a weapon.
Yeah. He rolled a nat 1 trying to hit. It was Flynn. He was trying to shoot Flynn with a bow, and he rolled a nat 1, so the bowstring broke, and instead he just... Second action was to move up on him, and the third action he tried to whack him with the bow staff.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was something. We had a good time with that. And so we ended up with these much beloved NPCs that you guys still hang out with and talk to. They really just drink a lot. That's kind of their whole jam right now.
They're the Dawnbringer B team.
They would disagree. They would say you're the Dawnbringer B team and they're the premier. But
I don't know. We're kind of the ones who are more popular.
I mean, anyway. So that was the whole first thing, was Okanady and Jack coming in on the ship, and that's how we got introduced to Flynn and Errol. You know, those accidental NPCs that happen. You guys...
We love them.
This campaign was the first time that Michael had really played. I played a bit years past when I was a kid and in college, but I'd never really DM'd anything outside of, like, okay, here's your character, here's a dungeon, go room to room and fight things. That's all I'd ever really done when I was, 12, 13 years old back in the Dark Ages. Corinne and Alasia, though, you guys are experienced, like, role players. You guys have been in this world and done this a lot. So you both know that NPCs like that, it's a thing. It just happens.
It's a rarity, but it does happen.
Might be a rarity in your game. I end up with...
There was one character we were doing a run of Curse of Strahd
Oh, yeah,
in
that's a good
my
one.
Saturday group. And one of the NPCs was supposed to go down near the beginning,
Yeah.
and shenanigans was happening, but no. The base gods have decreed, no, this man stays.
That's exactly what happened with Errol, Flynn, Jack. Pretty much the entirety of the Light Brigade team, other than Bull Cephas and... other than Bull Cephas. We'll get into that in a bit. No. So the second one that we did, the second character intro, was Celine and Bull Cephas. And they were walking the road from Taurine, which at the time was still called New Orleans, because they're Minotaurs, and New Orleans, it's...
As you can tell, we're from Louisiana.
That is true. That is true. So they were walking down the road. The invitation for new Dawnbringers had come to Taurine, New Orleans, and the King Brûlé, had decided that it was a good idea if his kids got some real world experience, like outside of the palace. So he was like, okay, go live your life, and then you can come back and help me rule the kingdom. And they got a
sent his son, the paladin, and his daughter, the bard.
That's right, paladin and bard.
Go do the thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Go do the thing. They got accosted by bandits on the way.
I remember that.
Not super creative or anything, but
It's a good character introduction,
It's
but
broke because it worked.
I mean,
I was, for some reason, I had got obsessed with this idea of, like,
Selene stomping people in their nethers with her cow hooves. Yeah.
I got
They're,
obsessed with that for some reason, which is why we now have the homebrewed rule of if it's a called shot, you have to roll with disadvantage.
You roll with disadvantage. Even though disadvantage doesn't exist in Pathfinder, that's kind of one of our free parking house rules. I use advantage and disadvantage even though Pathfinder doesn't call for it, just because I think it's an elegant system and I think it works well. It helps combat flow pretty quick. I don't know. What do you guys think about me just...
I like the use of advantage and disadvantage. It worked great in the 5e game that I played, and it worked great for this.
I really find Pathfinder First Edition to be really flexible. Like, I can use a lot of things out of 5e. I can use a lot of things out of Pathfinder Second Edition, and they all, with a little bit of tweaking, very easily can be integrated into Pathfinder. The version of it we play, which is based on 1e, but it's we play loose and fast with the rules sometimes.
It's 1e asterisk.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. So, and it'll be interesting to see how that works in, the coming year, probably the coming year, as we start having me step out of the DM role and into a player role a little bit more and have other people like Michael and Little Patrick and Corinne. These people are going to be DMing, trying to use my rule set, which...
Gotta say, I thoroughly enjoyed playing with Michael as DM, GM, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
For the Noir game.
Yeah, we did have an Anulo Noir mini campaign that Michael DM'd. Oh my gosh, what, middle of season? After season 1, wasn't it?
It was the break between season 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. During the break, he ran a Noir campaign, and that was a lot of fun for me to actually get to step into a player role. I had a blast with that. I also rolled insane on my Noir character stats. Like, he's out of control.
I'm going to try to do better with DMing this season of Anulo Noir. I've got an idea for descriptions, how roles might work. I've got ideas for how characters would react and, actually motivations, objectives, all that kind of stuff.
Your NPC characters.
By the way...
Yeah.
By the way, would you feel comfortable adding another player to the roster?
I'm always down for more players.
There you go. So Alasia may be joining us. After we finish the Sun Chase, we will transfer into the second season of Anulo Noir, which I guess we should probably talk about that with some of the recap too here in a bit. We'll get there. But we're going to jump into the second season of Anulo Noir, which is
Fear Chronicles.
Fear Chronicles. The first season of Anulo Noir was a
murder mystery.
It was like a murder mystery type of situation, classic noir. This one is not the same. This one is more supernatural serial killer. Hey, will you grab me a drink from the outside fridge while you're up and milling around, please, sir?
Yeah, that's just what I was doing.
Spanky helper.
Immediate thought that comes to mind with that description is Call of Cthulhu.
It's Call of
No.
Cthulhu-ish, but it's more like a fantasy version of Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. Like a straight-up supernatural serial killer with a little bit of the Cthulhu mythos and...
Think of the Supernatural and Scooby-Doo crossover, but make it the most iconic horror movie monsters or antagonists you can think of.
The Scooby-Doo... Did you guys hear that? The Scooby-Doo and Supernatural crossover. This is the world that we live in. It is a real thing. I have seen it.
What
And
you want from the fridge?
there's only one thing.
Yeah,
in
there
that
was an
fridge, so-
image that somebody had taken of Baby, the car from Supernatural, and the Scooby-Doo van, and said, that place is haunted.
Yeah, no, they actually did that, and it's pretty amazing. I have a replica of that as close as I could get to Baby from Supernatural. I have that car in Grand Theft Auto Online.
Here you go.
No,
Nice. I have a miniature, like,
Set it
to
down.
scale.
sit down over
The
there.
die
Car
cast.
version.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool. I didn't even know they made that.
It was part of
Great.
Loot Crate from 10 years ago.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know. Anyway, we got way off track. So, the third character introduction was Jamu Jamu and Mark, the cleric. They were basically raised at Dawnbringer Hall while it was empty and abandoned and nobody was even there.
And as a reminder, since you keep saying his name but not his class, Jamu is our rogue turned rogue/sorcerer.
Yeah, I'm really playing with the idea of homebrewing a whole new class. We're going to call it Edgelord. No, I'm kidding.
I'm trying to be better. Yeah, season 1, Jamu was a total dick. I was trying.
Oh my god, he was the worst.
I was trying to make him the cool and but smart one of the party, and I just ended up making him a dick, and I feel so bad about it. I'm trying so hard to make him friendly
He's
this
still
season.
a kitten. He's grown up. It's fine.
And here's the whole thing about it is that and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about, like, I'm going to do better as a DM this time. I'm going to do this different. I'm going to do this different. I don't think you really understand that I do that every single week. Like, every week. Corinne can attest to, because Corinne and I debrief after every session, and I'm like, this part was slow, this description could have been better, this character action was out of place. So it's like an
Russ and I do the same thing.
Yeah, every single week, I'm like, how can I be better? How can I be better at this? So yeah, that's all we can really do is do better this week than we did last week, do better this month than we did last month. You know, off topic again. Jamu, the rogue, who was not a sorcerer at the time, he was just a rogue, and Mark, the cleric, raised in Dawnbringer Hall. Basically, they had like a final exam, a test to see if they had learned enough skills to go out into the world as full-fledged adventurers. And so what they had to do was they had to fight the dwarven cook of Dawnbringer Hall, whose name is Luska, who basically is their mom. For all intents and purposes, she's a mother figure to both of you guys.
Oh yeah, she's a mom, and she knows it.
Oh yeah.
She has this wooden spoon she used to beat them with as kids.
It's massive. It's like the size of a boat paddle. It's enormous.
Basically the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII if it was a wooden spoon.
If it was a wooden spoon, I'll be right back. Keep going.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
It was, like said, again, Buster Sword, wooden spoon. But, yeah, it was this whole final exam thing where...
You fought in the arena.
Yeah, we fought in the arena. We
Yeah.
had to basically prove ourselves worthy to our parents.
Now, a couple of notable things that happened in that.
Oh, there are a couple of notable things. One, the other Dawnbringers joined us, like, mid-exam.
Right. At this point, Okanady and Celine and Bully and Errol and Flynn, they'd already made it to Dawnbringer Hall at this point, so they were in the stands in the arena. And Luska had this ring that she had this ring that she could shoot, just turn it, and she doubled in size. And her wooden spoon doubled along with her. And then Beauregard, the little demon that is the caretaker and headmaster and all that of Dawnbringer Hall, he actually summoned in some little minor demons. Huh?
He said Hellbringer.
Hellbringers. Maybe that's what he's going for. You don't know. Anyway.
Or like an evil Dawnbringer team. Who knows?
So Luska popped that ring and doubled in size. That ring is now the one that Okanady wears that allows him to shrink so he can, like...
Go from 20 feet to 10 feet.
Yeah, at 20 feet tall, he's not going to be able to go into a building anywhere. So I had to basically pull a way out of my butt for him to be able to go places with you guys.
The DM Vortex?
The DM Vortex. That's what we're calling my butt now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. I kept trying to, like, throw her off her balance, because...
Yeah, he kept trying to hamstring her with his claws so she would fall over.
And I kept
I'll get her. Go ahead.
I can't remember being so stressed. I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god, what if I accidentally kill her? Or what if I accidentally injure her too much and she dies of her injuries? I was scared of killing her.
Well, and at that point you guys didn't know, but and we got into it in the first part of the Sun Chase, how the arena at Dawnbringer Hall, you can't kill anybody in that arena. Like, if somebody drops to 0 hit points, they don't roll death saves. They poof out of the arena.
It's some kind of Beauregard or ancient Dawnbringer magic.
Yeah, it's some sort of ward that Beauregard put on the arena years and years ago when they used to have regular contests there before, it became dilapidated and disused. But yeah, and then that was the other thing that happened. Cows in trees. That's when Cows in Trees happened.
Oh, wait, I remember that. This was before the big old fight with Luska.
No, it's when you two were fighting Luska, and Celine ended up climbing up into Okanady's branches, and he just Hulk jumped out of the stands down onto the floor of the arena, which wasn't supposed to happen. And by the way, Beauregard has put up new wards in the arena where that won't ever happen again.
Well, since Bessie did it too.
Oh, she sure did. Beauregard's slipping, man. He's slipping.
Maybe it's his age finally getting to him, or the magic is starting to fail him a little. Maybe he's just not.
Let's do something fun real quick. Speaking of Beauregard.
Oh God. What are you pulling out?
So
he's on to get another notebook, I believe.
Yeah, this is one of the 3 that we lovingly refer to these notebooks as the deep lore.
Oh yeah.
So, just to fill everybody in, the idea of Anulo actually started in
Jesus, what was it?
The late 90s. I was a graphic design student, not a very good one, but I was a graphic design student in college. And I started coming up with ideas. So this is a picture that is dated September the 17th of 1998. Okay?
Oh my God.
That's older than you, Elise.
And I don't know if you can see.
I was asking if I should deafen for this because of my plans going into your campaign mode.
Can you guys see that on Twitch?
Oh, jeez.
Can you see it? That's Beauregard. That is a sketch that I did of Beauregard in 1998. So,
I hadn't noticed the hairs coming out of his ears before.
yeah. And if people wanted me to, maybe I can post that picture to Facebook and Twitter later on. I mean, that's a fun little throwback thing. So at this point, the Dawnbringers they were a group because they just
purple,
jumped
by the way.
into the middle of it. What?
What?
And he is purple, by the way.
He is purple.
He is purple.
He is dark purple, and he bamps around a lot. Like he teleports in these clouds of purple smoke. He just poof poof wherever he needs to go.
I've seen
So he's basically the purple version of Backcaller.
kind of.
Except he sounds like Colonel Sanders when he talks. Or possibly Foghorn Leghorn.
I was talking about the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, he just does that. It's a thing.
Yeah, I remember you saying that Dawnbringer Hall actually had a classroom. It's like one of those big half-circle auditorium kind of college classes that you see in the movies. Are there actual, like, classes going on nowadays?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because at this point, Flynn, who was the deckhand from Okanadi's introduction that miraculously lived, he is now an instructor. He's like the head instructor at Dawnbringer Hall. So all these new recruits that are coming in, he's helping to train them.
Thank you. I wanted to just make sure.
So,
After,
where did we go from there?
I believe our first task was we were actually looking for bounties, and we went to the nearby inn, the Morning Shade.
Yep, you guys went to the Morning Shade Inn.
Yes, the rat.
The
Oh,
rats.
here we go.
Jamu, would you like to tell us about what happened at the Morning Shade Inn?
Oh,
Honestly, what originally happened was Hob, the bartender
Of the Morning Shade Inn.
of the Morning Shade Inn, who I kind of base his character on Bill Murray's character from Caddyshack. Have you ever seen Caddyshack? I know you have.
I mean,
Malaysia, have you seen it? I know you probably
I don't
haven't.
think I have.
No, but I've met Hob, so...
So they went and, hey, we're new Dawnbringers.
We're looking for jobs to do.
We're looking for jobs. And he said, yeah, we got a little bit of a rat problem down in the basement, and I would take care of it myself, but I don't want to. And that was how that whole thing started.
He felt like being lazy, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But his wife, on the other hand, is the... She's either mute or has some other vocal disability.
She doesn't speak, no.
But she is the loveliest woman you'd ever meet, and just, she is but she's also the busiest, too. Like, she makes all the food, the drinks.
She, at this point, with the Morning Shade being a lot big, in the beginning, Hodo Nolan, Tower Town, the little town outside Hodo Nolan and Dawnbringer
It's more of a village or hamlet.
Yeah, there were maybe 50 people that lived in the village with a few farming communities outside that would come into town for, holidays and stuff like that and to sell their wares. But I mean, this was a sleepy little town back then. Now Hodo Nolan is turning into a full-fledged city. Anyway, the rats in the basement of the Morning Shade Inn weren't just rats, though. They were full-on rat folk, and
Jamu, we forgot to mention, is a homebrew species of Anulo called the feline. Now,
it's very similar to Tabaxi.
Yes, but they're more akin to their actual cat species. Like, Jamu's a 3-foot-tall tabby cat, sand cat thing. Orange sand cat.
The interesting thing to note about feline as opposed to Tabaxi is that feline don't have thumbs.
Unless they wear special gloves. Cannot use traditional weapons because the feline are a warrior race and their natural claws are their weapons. And that's just kind of how it goes. The flip side to that is that on an unarmed attack, a feline
rolls 1d6 instead of 1d4 for unarmed damage because they have the claws. So that's stuff that's worth noting, sure.
Yeah. So, Jamu being a natural... This was pre-time cut, so Jamu had this old baby blanket that he wears... that he used to wear because he's outgrown it at this point. That was basically a full-on cloak for him. It draped over him like how... He wore it like how Batman does. He had it closed at the front.
He had a cloak that was fashioned by Luska into... it was his baby blanket. He got left in a basket on the steps of Dawnbringer Hall, and the blanket that was wrapped around him was this green fleece-type blanket that as he grew and started to become a rogue and was hiding in shadows and things, Luska sewed it into a cloak with a hood for him. And that's what his original cloak was. Now he has that...
Nice.
Now he has that weird color change cloak that adds to his stealth roll. So that's why I don't really make him roll for stealth anymore, because there's no point.
It costs thousands of gold.
I think it was 5,000 gold. Yeah, it was expensive, but I mean, when you have royalty in your party, gold
becomes obsolete.
It doesn't always matter.
But anyways, we were gonna have track here. Jamu being a natural cat is like...
Cats don't like mice. That's a whole ass thing.
I was just like, okay, so because I'm a cat, I'll be like, okay, so I'll try to sniff them out because I'm a cat.
Yep.
He made me roll with advantage for that.
Rolling perception with advantage because you could smell the rats.
It was actually survival.
Was it survival? I guess we hadn't really... At that point, we hadn't fully figured out exactly what we were doing and how to play.
But no.
We're just making it up.
It started off as normal rat swarms,
mm-hmm.
but as we started getting lower, they became more humanoid. And then we finally come to the main chamber, where the rat problem was originating from. And there were 5 people in there?
There were 5 people in there. People. There were 5 rat folk, 6 if you count the mother.
There was the king of the rat people.
Stebbin. I'm actually looking at his stat block right now as we're going through. Stebbin the Rat King.
The 2 princes, Stubbin and Stabbin.
Stubbin and Stabbin.
The mother.
The mother. That's... And then there were like 2 guards or something like that.
Jamu was the first. He came out and it was this big open area. And the queen was over in this big, like, illuminated area, basically on display. Jamu saw her and went feral.
Yeah, he went completely nuts. The mother was like this giant...
Heavily
she
pregnant.
wasn't... Yeah, just enormously pregnant. Think Jabba the Hutt laying on his sail barge. Just this huge pregnant female rat that wasn't as humanoid as the others. But, like, you could see little rat noses poking out. Like, she was ready to pop. And Jamu...
I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jamu saw this rat queen, and I was just like, okay, I have to do... And my thought process was, oh, she's pregnant. She's going to start popping out enemies. So I'm just like, and I'm a cat. And basically, Jamu went feral, and he leapt up in the air and sliced the rat queen open.
Mm-hmm.
There were half-formed rat fetuses just flooding out.
It was pretty gross.
And what was it, Stebbin?
I don't know. All I know is Jamu opened this heavily pregnant rat mother from stem to stern, opened her up, spilled all these squirming, disgusting fetal rats onto the ground, and then picked one of them up and slapped the Rat King or one of the princes in the face with it.
No, that's not what happened. The king tried to attack Jamu because he just killed his heavily pregnant wife and all of those future rat folk. Jamu saw him coming, kicked one of the rat fetuses into the king's eyes and murdered him.
Face, and then just opened his throat up, if I remember right. It was bad.
Stop
And
it.
some of the descriptions that I had for, like, these fetal rats spilled onto the floor, choking for breath with unformed lungs. It was gross.
Stubbin and Stabbin got away, and
Stubbin and
he's
Stabbin
planning
escaped.
something.
Stubbin and
With-
Stabbin definitely escaped.
He's planning something with them, and we don't know what yet.
I'm just saying that they still exist in the world.
If you
That-
throw
I
them
know
at us,
nothing.
Huh?
I know nothing.
You know things, but you keep your mouth shut. We'll get there.
Like I said, I know nothing.
yeah, Stubbin and Stabbin got away. Okanedi had to physically restrain Jamu from causing any more chaos.
And also, Jamu now has since that situation with the rat folk happened, he now has a racial bias that's built into his character. So he gets +1 to attack, +1 to damage against rat folk, period.
That
But he
should be
gets
all
he gets -1 to any fear saves that he has to make against rat folk. So he both fears and hates them. And that's how that racial trait happened. So that was real fun. And then you guys went to the Rolf estate. You met the Baron of the Rolf estate. Let me see if I've got his name somewhere. No. Those notes are lost to time.
My guess is Rolf.
Yeah, Baron Rolf. He had a first name, but I don't remember what it was.
That guy.
So their second job was Baron Rolf had asked for someone to come to his estate where they grow these world famous apples. They're called dun apples.
They're grown by spider venom,
Yeah,
which gives
so-
them a bitter taste.
He's got this orchard that's inhabited by these spiders that are omnivorous. They eat these apples, but as they're sucking the juice out of the apples, they put their venom into them. And so those apples end up getting used to make poisons, to make medicines, to brew liquors and beers and meads and ciders. Potions.
Hodo
Whatever.
Nolan's
And that's
Hodo
what Hodo
Nolan's-
Nolan is famous for. Yeah, that's a huge part
Dun
of their
apple
economy.
cider. It's an alcoholic beverage.
Dun apple cider is like the signature drink in Hodo Nolan
But
because
for
of these apples.
But for some reason, our party just drinks firewater.
Well, you know. So they got sent to the Rolf estate.
All of you. Some of us drink tea.
Yes.
Jamu actually drinks fire milk.
Gross. That's
He's a
nasty.
cat!
That's disgusting. Ew. No.
Who?
That's gross. No, that's not canon.
That sounds
Nobody
I'm
pay attention to that.
kidding.
It's not canon.
I'm kidding.
Absolutely not.
He drinks
Fire
normal firewater.
You're wow. You're a disgusting animal.
Fire water.
Need I remind you when I
Is
did?
fire water?
hard liquor.
It's just what they call whiskey. Is fire water.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why.
Might as well just call it fireball.
Would be cinnamon.
Gross.
And then our tavern would be on fire because someone would accidentally cast a spell.
So, all right. On their way to the Rolf estate, they got accosted by a group of gnolls.
Jamu was trying to take a pledge of non-lethality at this point because he was terrified of what he did.
Yeah, he was a little freaked out there for a little bit, and he didn't want to kill anything else because that was disgusting.
Oh, the irony.
One of the Celine ended up charming one of the gnolls, and he just left. And you guys murdered the rest of them and went to the Rolf estate where so those spiders in the orchard, sometimes their population starts to get a little out of hand. And so Baron Rolf calls in, hey, the Dawnbringers are back. Let me call some of them in to let me call them in to help me cull the population of these spiders and keep it under control. You guys went, you fought some spiders, you murdered the crap out of them because every single combat scenario I have ever thrown at this group has been trivialized.
Also because Okanedi's player is a rules lawyer.
Then you got, after the Rolf estate, you guys were very successful there, made a little bit of coin. You guys went to the Stone Strike mines, which are south of Hodo Nolan. You met Alaric Stone Strike, a dwarf, which most people probably don't know this, but elves, dwarves, gnomes, all of the old races, they're really uncommon in Anulo.
Yeah, there's only one full elf on the whole planet.
Yeah, and it's you.
I guess we should consider ourselves lucky.
Yeah. But so when the moon fell and the darkness happened, the elves were like, "No thanks, I'm out," and they traveled through the in-between to the Feywild and just
So the elves basically went, "Fuck this shit, I'm out."
Pretty much. That's exactly what they did. They just fucked off. That's exactly what they did. That's perfect. The dwarves did basically the same
and
thing.
Rolls out of frame and picture.
I love that. That was funny.
I hope that I got the television well enough that people could see you roll out on the screen there, because that was pretty good. Oh my god, you guys are super distracting. This is way harder than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, no worries,
bouncing
man.
all over the place, and
We're just having fun here. But yeah, we went to the mines and
Yep.
we met Baron Draxon?
no, you met Alaric Stone Strike.
Thank you, Alaric. We met Alaric. He was like, "Hey, the goblins are being super rowdy in the mines because they live down there.
Yeah.
Can you guys go and handle them?" Celine was like, and Jamu was like, "Can we take a diplomatic approach, please?"
And they did. They did take a diplomatic approach.
And then we met our favorite character of the series.
I don't know who you're talking about. Yes, that's where Guzzbug happened. Guzzbug was one of the guards at the mine.
Jamu tried to learn Goblin so he could speak better with them, but it was
Jamu
Celine
knows
who ended up learning Goblin.
Yeah. So you guys made your way down into the mines. You found out that the goblins were infested with myconids. Like, they were all these fungal spore servants to myconids at that point. And that's why the goblins...
Oh, yeah, Mom told me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so ended up just destroying the bridge. There's a huge chasm in between the mines and the Goblin City, formerly known as Fart Bottom.
Former Goblin City.
Former Goblin City. There's Fart Bottom right
Now it's
there.
a monastery.
Yes, it is a monastery now. So they went through the mines and into the city of Fart Bottom. No, I take that back. That was unused content then. Nobody ever went into Fart Bottom because you severed the bridge.
And then a goblin was on the bridge when we cut it.
Yeah, well, he
is very much dead.
dead as hell now.
He's-
Yeah, he's
That
gone.
is inaccurate. There's an inaccuracy there. We did
Come.
We did
Come
go
on.
to Fart Bottom.
And
Remember? Because we had
Oh,
to.
you guys did. Sit down. Tell us what happened in
come
Fart.
in, and I'm gonna nap.
we
after
can
that.
wait for
Just
it.
sit down for 5 seconds and
Oh my
remind us what
God,
happened
you're so
in
needy.
fucking Fart Bottom. Because
Special
so
guest star
needy.
Patrick.
Hey, there's
Hello.
Patrick. He plays Okanady. So what happened in Fart Bottom? You guys went and you met Guzzbug, and then I'm fuzzy on it.
We met Guzzbug, and we went to like, there was this whole, like, Jamu was trying to be all super diplomatic, and it was really lame, and you know.
I had just disemboweled the Rat Queen.
I mean, Okanady was down for it, you know. I mean,
You had to physically restrain me from
Okanady
causing
is
more
the
chaos.
most violent tree I have ever met.
I mean, look,
Okanady's defining characteristic, though, is that he fucks shit up. Like, that's just what he does. That's his whole thing.
I mean, his
Break
goal,
shit.
his goal is to be great and to be known for his greatness, and so, you know, that's what you have to do. That's how you have to be. That's an adventurer. But anyway, we went to Fart Bottom. We did the bridge thing. We never got there originally in the first go round. because they all started coming at us. So we nuked the bridge.
Right. But you
And-
guys ended up going back later.
Right, and
That's
because we had to get
A mic and Ed for it, right?
we
Yeah.
had to like
Lure.
abduct.
First, there was the whole get a home for the goblins
Oh, yeah.
in
yeah.
the sewers of.
Yeah, we
Three.
liberated
So
the
after
goblin.
after you guys nuked the bridge, there was a group of refugees, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah, and we led them. Well, we negotiated with the dwarf that was running the mine to
Yeah.
like let us lead them out. We talked to Guzzbug, and he talked them into it basically, or we tried to talk them into it because there was a.
There was a lot of Selene diplomacy going on in that.
There's always a lot of Selene
That's
diplomacy.
true.
she's our
But-
diplomatic.
Yeah, she's our leader. But
Most of the time.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, she should be. She's got the most charisma and diplomacy and all that stuff. So, you know. But anyway, no, we went there and like we convinced the guy to give us some time to get some people out. And Guzzbug convinced some of the people to come with us. Some of them didn't,
Yeah.
but most of them, I believe, ended up coming with us. So we had to negotiate where to put them, and we put them in the bowels of Turin.
Yeah, and it ended up being mostly like children and old people.
Yeah.
And you guys took them to Taurine, which I think at the time we were still calling New Orleans.
Yeah, probably so.
Stupid name.
If I remember,
It's
if
a
I
great
remember
name.
right, we actually ended up influencing most of the children of. We ended up influencing most of
Yeah.
the children. Jamu taught some of them how to sneak and lockpick.
Yep, those are called the Green Cloaks now. There's a whole sect of goblins.
Mark
that-
was teaching some of them about religion.
and holy magic, and now they all
Have
he
a
has
handprint.
he has a handprint where he was touched by Erdon,
Our second father.
and Erdon's the power of Earth, which powers in Anulo are basically gods. So then there's the clan of the Hand, which is another little sect of those goblins now. There are the what are they called? The ones that wear sticks in their hair, and
Fuck if I know.
Oh, come on, we had it.
Badass.
they're the badasses. The
No.
the no limit soldiers.
No limit soldiers.
No,
Oh,
I
told
got it.
you.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Ah!
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Anyway, they greatly influenced all these goblin children, and now there's like different groups of these goblins in the sewers that are kind of grown up now that emulate these Dawnbringers. Because, you know.
I'm not
And then
gonna lie, that is kind of cute, but also slightly creepy.
a little bit.
Oh yeah, the Green Cloaks ended up being more dickish Robin Hoods.
Yeah, they're just straight up
Of
thieves.
course.
They're just straight up.
They
little
are the Thieves Guild of Taurine.
So the group led the goblins back to Taurine. Actually, I've got a recap right here.
There you go.
When we left off, the party had gone into the mines near Hodo Nolan to clear out a goblin incursion at the request of the foreman, Alaric Stonestrike. With the help of their new goblin ally, Guzzbug, they were able to sever the bridge between the mines and the goblin encampment. The group was able to successfully sneak out of the mines without any further combat. At this point, Okanady didn't have the ring yet, so he had to take a shrinking potion, which only had 4 hours left. That was a note for myself. So then they took him to Taurine, and it was a whole thing. Like, they met...
We had to have a whole city council meeting.
Now, the Council of Bulls in Taurine, some of them were open to the idea of letting the goblins stay. Some of them were not keen on it, and
Vehemently
some of
opposed.
them were violently against it. The
Like
Council
the
of,
Bastille, like ass steel over there.
Lord Grimdall Bastille, yeah, that was when they first encountered that guy.
Oh, I wanted to stab him so bad.
You guys met Lucas Albert. You guys met Torvis Albert. No, Lucas is not an Albert. I can't remember what his family lineage is, but the captain of the guard, Lucas, they met at that point. The sergeant at arms, which is the level 15 bard warrior, Torvis Albert, who works with the king. You guys met the Council of Bulls, which would be King Brule Demu, the sergeant at arms, which is Torvis Albert. That's when you guys met Lord Haggis Highland, the leader of the Highland.
Oh, we like that guy.
Yeah. Lord Grimdall Bastille, who ended up being the leader of the Resistance.
You may as well just change that to ass steel.
Yeah, they called him Ass Steel a lot because that names all get morphed into something.
Blame
No matter how
Okanani,
much I
he's-
try to think about it, like, there's no way they can make this name offensive and...
Blame
ridiculous
Okanani.
and-
He's good at effing up names.
Yes, he is.
I don't know what's what. I'm gonna take it up to your
But
mom.
frankly, if there is a will, there is a way.
Here.
Well, there's a will. There's always a will.
That's what-
Let's see.
I mean,
Shinwei
there's always going to be a way.
Longhorn Caldera, Esperanzo Ferdinand, also known as the Red Cape, Petrus Lafitte, Went Falda, Lady Marguerite Laveau, who Celine has spent a lot of time with, and Jean Robert Boucher. So there was this whole council, and some of them were open to the idea, some of them were for, some were against at different levels. There were a lot of diplomacy
This
roles
is the
that had
point
to
at which
happen.
I started watching.
Yeah, there were a lot of diplomacy roles happening right there. And eventually, they convinced the council to allow the goblins to stay in the city, but that's what caused the initial schism between the western pastures of Bavine, which is the Minotaur country. Taurine is in the west. So instead of being split up into counties or countries, the country,
pastures.
yeah, the country is Bavine, and it's split into smaller pastures, each of which has a high lord or a bull which sits on the council. And yes, Lady Laveau is still called a bull, which is a whole different situation. But that's what caused that initial schism and almost drove the Minotaur Society into civil war. And that's been an ongoing conflict that's been happening in the background of this Dawnbringers campaign since that point.
And where we are right now.
Yeah, and right now you guys are straight up in the Bastille pasture. The pasture of the guy who's the leader of the resistance against Celine's dad. So,
Because that's where the labyrinth is.
right.
It was the birthplace of the Minotaur.
Exactly. Yep.
I pay
Well, that's
attention.
going to be fun for you guys.
The hostilities, because of a set of some very successful diplomacy roles made by Celine in the beginning of the Sun Chase, the tensions, it's still tense, but it's not on the edge of open warfare and full-on civil war. But it was pretty dicey there for a while. It could have gone either way. Very easily. Could have been anything that tipped that scale in one direction or the other. But that's starting to settle down now. After...
And then after getting the gobos set up,
That was when they went
the team was sent north.
to the Shattered Tundra. Yeah, Base Camp 1 was your initial point of contact there, where you met a group of... basically a group of scientists that were there studying for the Gnomish city. So when the elves left during the Dark Times, they went to the Feywild. The dwarves dug deep into the earth. the gnomes built a clockwork flying city and then just flew off into the sky and exist on their own flying city. Originally it was called Skybrary, and some people still call it that. Yeah. Everybody, all the old races fucked off. They just took off, and the gnomes built and flew away in Daid, which is normally called the Skybrary by most people because it's got a massive library in it. Because the leader of Daid is the power of knowledge, lore. We'll get to him in a
Who
little
is
bit.
apparently a
Everybody
fill in any word
hates
you
lore.
want.
Everybody hates lore.
We all want to stab him.
They want to kill him dead.
This is pineapple mango.
This is going
I
to get
know.
really interesting in Mom's
Here's your straw.
upcoming game at some point.
It could... Lore could really come into anything, anywhere at this point.
Phone's mine.
Because...
Do me a favor. I need.
What's up?
Starting the stream. I need you to check that and make sure that that's bacon on this burger.
Is that my Baconator?
No, that's chili.
I got chili too, because I want to put it on
You
my
got
Baconator.
chili and fries, and I think this is supposed to have
Hell yeah.
bacon on it.
No, thank you, Rougarou. I can eat this all by myself.
All right,
yes, meet our
share.
PA. The
Oh, no, her face got blocked by the bag, but she's so
No.
cute.
That's yours.
Uncle.
This is.
Hey, Rudy, come here.
The little ears.
Oh God, she's...
She has very expressive ears, yes.
There she is.
All right, and we... Oh no,
Oh,
she killed the camera.
Oops.
oh no.
It's all right. That's all right. We can fix it.
We can fix this.
There. See? Ow! That is my foot.
I'm guessing she gravity pulled.
She's
Hey, why don't you go that way?
Rigor. Sit in my spot.
Hey, why don't... Oh, okay.
Rigor.
Okay,
Oh my God.
And she froze the camera again.
Rue.
Don't keep blaming that baby. It's not her fault.
There you go. Sit right there. That's a good spot for you.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Welcome.
That's perfect. Just chill.
As our camera comes
Jeez.
back online, I'd like to welcome.
So, a lot of people that watch the stream, we talk about our PA a lot, our production assistant. This is our production assistant. This is Rougarou. She works for French Fries.
So cute.
She's actually got a bit of a disability because the shelter we found her in.
Her back legs don't work so good.
Yeah, the shelter we found her in said she got hit by a car and
that's
they
what
didn't
we're
get her to
assuming.
the vet in time. And now, and her hip didn't heal properly, so now her back legs don't work as good.
She's like, bro, you ain't got to tell my whole life story.
She has to wear a little pink vest when we want her to swim.
She's adorable.
She is.
Also, she is normally the root cause of technical difficulties because she trips over cords and stuff a lot. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. What are you doing?
I think Alasia is in love.
Oh, she's a sweet puppy.
I want to visit solely to pet the doggo. I swear.
Just so you can pet the dog. Will you? Hey, hey, hey!
Hey!
Okay, now the production assistant has taken over the stream. She's in charge now.
Well, there's nothing we can do. This is officially a dog watching stream.
So, Rougarou, tell us what happened next. Okay, thank you. She was like, wait, I'm on camera?
I'm bailed.
No, thank you.
Yeet.
Where were we? I totally forgot what we were talking about.
how we wanted to stab Lore.
Yeah, but
Tundra.
we weren't too lore. We got distracted.
Uh,
This is where
Tundra.
Huh?
Tundra.
Can you not hear us?
I can hear you, but you know how sometimes my brain doesn't, like, you say a thing to me and the words
in
Cold
one ear out
place.
the other?
The cold place. Yes, Shattered Tundra met the group of people from Daid that were in the area. Ended up fighting an ice giant, Ischus, the terror of the frozen north. Beat the crap out of him.
Oh, didn't Jamu scare one of the guards?
I think so.
He intimidated, just like...
Met Shirus, the power of ice, and freed her. That's when Jamu got the egg.
Ah, yes, Cinder. How is my boy?
Bet you wish you knew.
Aw.
So Jamu has an egg from this particular little story arc from a hell beetle. In this northern area, they're a species of beetles that produce light and heat. There's little small ones that are called lantern beetles that put off a lot of light, not a lot of heat. There's a medium-sized one, about 2 foot or so. They're called forge beetles. They put off a lot of heat, but not a lot of light. And they get used as like cooking implements and, well, forges. And then there's a giant version, which is extremely uncommon. Before you guys ran into that one, nobody had ever actually seen one. And that giant hell beetle and its power is what was being used to imprison the power of ice. You guys ended up breaking the machine, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah. There was also a dungeon you were planning to use on us that we skipped.
That's all the time. You guys are constantly skipping stuff I've built.
It was my first time playing.
Yes.
Not
right.
as me, but
As Celine's,
acting out as Volcephus.
Yeah. That's why the Dawnbringers got sent to the Shattered Tundra in the first place, is because the Light Brigade
Went missing.
went missing. They went up there to investigate and disappeared. So Errol, Flynn, Jack, and Bully were missing up there, and that's why they got sent up there.
We
I
found
forgot
them
about
in
that
ice
part.
blocks.
Yep, they were frozen solid.
They're fine, I think.
They got better.
From there, you guys
Daid.
got on a ship called the Cerberus, a sailing ship. Started to sail. I don't even remember where you guys were trying to go. I think that you were trying to go home, trying to go back to Hodo Nolan. Got caught in the maelstrom. Ended up at the lighthouse at Obrak after fighting the Obrakian sea beast.
We met the power of time.
Met the power of time, Epoch.
We learned that Cinder was going to be one of those huge hell beetle things.
Right, and then to leave the lighthouse, Epoch called Lore and had Lore send an air skiff to pick you guys up.
Celine also saw a book called The Life and Times of Queen Celine Demu.
Yeah, that happened. So that was the point. They got picked up at the lighthouse and then brought to Daid. So I see you munching there, but with us going to Daid, it's your turn to take over the what happened.
Let's start her story off from her perspective.
Because I got food, so...
What was happening when the Dawnbringers were summoned to hell?
So, Dawnbringers were just arrived underground, were not pleased with the officiousness of when let's take the rest of it. Cogsworth.
Oh yeah, Cogsworth. That's when you guys met him.
And then Maxims went off. And bad things were happening.
Didn't you make...
From my perspective, my entire research team, including my 12th husband, had not listened to my advice, choosing instead to operate under orders, and put a flawed amber heart into a cabbage, which was not properly the thing to do. And it awoke and mutated and killed them all.
Minus you.
And, well, I was still doing something in my turnip office. And I met the rest of the group by helping to kill the cabbage that killed my husband.
Mm-hmm. Jamu ended up clawing into that thing's face and rode it like a surfboard.
And if I remember right, Celine wanted to eat it.
But then it spewed poison at us.
She wanted to turn it into coleslaw.
But she was very reluctant after it was spewing the poison fog and such.
And yeah, so friendship formed in battle with a dire cabbage.
Oh yeah, Jamu at this point had some kind of magical amulet
Oh yeah,
I
no,
remember the dire cabbage story.
that when tapped gives Jamu like 2 hours to breathe underwater.
yeah, you guys ended up fighting some water drakes on the way to Taurine originally, and that's where that came from. So the deal with the
And
cabbage.
then,
No, wait, that's where the rib bone came from.
Lore decided to send me off with the group,
Yep.
researching to acquire more, acquire the components to make more Farquill. Because the Farquill that Jamu had with him,
Yeah, he'd had it since birth. The quill,
Yeah.
a note, and that green blanket that was turned into his cloak was what was in his basket. Yep.
that the Quill had started writing, and
Wait, I remember this. This was back at the lighthouse. So Jamu was like, "Hey, Epoch was like, "Hey, has anyone got a quill?" Jamu was like, "Hey, I've got one." Epoch was like, "Wait, that's a far quill, but where's the twin quill?" Twin quill is like, far quills and twin quills are like magic quills. Anything you write with a far quill, the twin quill will also write. Same handwriting, same cursive language, whatever.
Yep, that's right.
And if you cast a spell on the feather of the quill, that spell will also be replicated onto the feather of the twin quill, and vice versa. Epoch was like, "Wait, you have a far quill, but where's the twin quill? Try writing." Jamu's like, "Okay." He writes, and it's just like, "Hello," and only ever got one response before Epoch freaked out and took it.
Yep. Do
It
you
was,
remember what it said?
"You are not ready."
You are not ready. That's exactly what it said. Oh,
You want to guess who had the twin quill?
I think you know.
Shelikra freaking Tan,
Yep.
God of Oblivion.
The power of chaos and oblivion. Or normally we refer to him as the power of entropy.
There was also a whole side plot of us trying to deactivate a light spell that was cast on it.
Yeah, that was just... You guys cast light on the far quill, and because of the magical properties of those quills, it set up kind of a feedback loop. So it would never dispel. That was the whole thing. But yeah, then Lore sent you guys to find feathers from powerful enough bird creatures to make new Farquills. So basically people could write to each other instantaneously from any distance.
Jamu was close to taming one of them, so Lore could have one, and then Celine threw a net on it, and then
Yep.
it broke free, and basically distrusted me. I'm still angry about that.
Yeah, You guys were given 3 options. There was the
Parasidian cassowaries.
Parsidian cassowaries, which is the ones that you ended up going for. There was the Ungolian pheasant, which is like a giant golden pheasant. And then there was, what was that third one called? It's a peacockatrice. That's what it is.
Giant peacock.
Giant peacock with the abilities of a cockatrice. No, I'm sorry. It was the Ungolian peacock. And the pheasant was called the Midas pheasant. Ended up going for the cassowaries. Once again, beat the crap out of them. Got lots and lots of feathers.
Didn't we end up coming across a cave system?
Came across a set of ruins. Had a cave system in the bottom of it.
We ended up investigating that. They were flooded. There were a bunch of amphibian people for some reason.
Yeah.
And then we came across an avatar of Shelik Ratan.
An avatar of the Power of Death, who you guys would have defeated, except he pulled a blade and slit his own
Defeated
throat.
himself.
At which point, the dark power within him exploded and began to overrun
Or
the
the entire
island.
freaking island.
Jamu went
And
unconscious in that fight, actually.
Yeah, you almost died in that fight. You sure did. That was one of the only times anybody's ever had to roll death saves.
No, actually, Mark saved me before I had to.
Yeah, but you did. He did drop to 0 hit points. That was a nasty fight. It was gross. And then the only way.
I'll admit it, you loved it. You loved actually dropping somebody.
Oh, I'm gonna do it again next week.
You wish.
I'm gonna do it again. Hold on and watch.
Let me see.
The only way that you guys were able to stop the darkness is because Mark ended up.
Dad call.
Yeah, he called his dad. Mark ended up calling Erdon the power of Earth, which
I
is
think it
his.
was actually Jamu. He meditated and prayed.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Mark.
I think they both did.
Yeah, I
It was
think
combined effort.
Mark did it, but you were able to go in as a help action, so he got to roll it with advantage.
And then they were just like, Dad, help.
Yeah, they had to get some deific assistance on that one, and so he put up a wall which didn't stop the spreading darkness, but definitely slowed it down for a while.
Jamu inhaled some of that
Except
darkness
for
smoke.
where Jamu put his clever little paws
on the wall
it
and got a
and
connection with Shelik.
entrance into himself.
That's right.
And now Jamu's a Shadow Heart.
He's not a shadow heart.
He's half Shadow.
But that's when, because Michael and I had a conversation, and he was like, yeah, Rogue's fun. I want to do magic.
I wanted to cast
And I
Fireball.
was like, you know what? I can help you out with that. So he wanted to take some levels in Sorcerer, and it seemed like a really good idea since I was starting to...
And Pathfinder doesn't have Warlock.
Right. So he's a Sorcerer, and I think it's Destined.
It is.
Yeah.
It makes sense because he had that quill.
Right. Destiny. So that's when Jamu started taking levels in Sorcerer. He came into contact with the darkness, and it made sense then because we were starting to introduce this big bad guy, this god of death. And I mean, unbeknownst to most of the party, but a lot of the things that they've dealt with, even up to this point, were the god of death, Shelik Ratan, kind of... He can't directly influence the material plane, but he can, he can infect the minds of a group of myconids, which will then take over a goblin colony and then move their way out. So there were a lot of things going on that you guys didn't really know about it at the time, but Shelik was kind of poking at the boundary of his prison, seeing where he could stir up trouble. So a lot of the things you guys dealt with in those early days were actually linked back to him, but you guys know.
Oh, and we left out the very important point.
What's that?
The lighthouse was the group before Liana joined them to lose a few years.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they didn't know that at the time.
Until we got back to Dawnbringer Hall.
That's right. When after all of these adventures had happened, they the group made their way back to Dawnbringer Hall and found out they had been gone for 6 years.
7?
6 or 7 years.
I thought it was 3.
No, it was more than that.
Then 6.
I think it was 6.
It was 6 or 7 years they were gone because they were in the domain.
Literally only time you want to meet shit.
Yeah, they
because
were in
the
the
lighthouse is the home of the god of time.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And they found out about that when they got back. A lot of time had passed. A lot of things had changed. At that point, Taurine was on the brink of civil war. And that's when, I think at that point, Selene decided to go back to Taurine. And the group kind of broke apart.
Our own thing for a year.
Or, yeah, we're still not clear on the time frame, but they split for a while. Sylviana and Mark ended up going to Daid for most of that.
And
or
then,
at least part of that time.
Portion of that.
And then that's when we actually cut to Anulo Noir, Season 1.
That's when Anulo Noir happened. Jamu ended up getting teleported to the other side of the Earth. And had his own set of adventures in Hadahili, which is the Noir setting, during that year or so. Okanadi did nothing. He grew roots. He went into the ground, and Sylviana had a lighthouse built at Hodo Nolan, or not a lighthouse, a greenhouse built at Hodo Nolan, with a special spot for Okanadi to, do his tree golem thing. Selene went to Taurine and went to the front lines between the eastern and western pastures, and did her best to smooth over the tensions that were happening there, try to keep it from descending into war. Did a fine job of it.
The Sleazeball Bastille keeps wanting to the whole arranged marriage bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if given
Bastille did suggest an arranged marriage between him and Selene to the king at one point, and the king just straight up shot him down on that.
If Drama was there in that room, I'm pretty sure Astiel would have been stabbed repeatedly.
Yeah, we took some time off from streaming and playing for a while, and during that time, we let time pass in the Anulo world as well, so we were a little bit further along when we came back, and everybody had gone off and done their own things, but they all got called back together for the Sun Chase.
And that's where we are now, actually.
That's where we started this season, yeah.
And if y'all want, we could, do
all of the teams are getting murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to know what happened in the Sun Chase, that's on YouTube. The Xenon Game Labs. Click on Playlists, Streaming Into the Void. You can see the entirety of what's happened in Season 2.
If y'all are up to it, we could do a recap of Anulo Noir.
Nah. Anulo Noir, we'll get into that later. We've already recapped for an hour and a half just on Season 1, which is kind of impressive considering that it was like 15 4-hour sessions that we just jammed into 90 minutes. And I'm sure there's some stuff we forgot that happened during all that. I know there's stuff I forgot.
Chamu went, on a no-killing thing for a while.
Yeah, we got into that.
Mark was getting into technology and shit.
Yeah, you guys, the Cerberus, that's actually an important thing that happened. The Cerberus the ship that you guys went to the lighthouse on ended up getting retrofitted into an airship by the gnome engineers in Daid. That ended up costing you guys like 50,000 gold.
Jamu had a talk with Erdon.
Jamu spoke with Erdon briefly in Daid. That's where you guys got Kaylee. Captain Dominic and Abernathy, the water golem, had always been on the Cerberus, even from the time when it was a traditional sailing ship. But Kaylee is the gnomish engineer that joined you guys after the Cerberus was turned into an airship, which we were calling the Airbus for a while.
I kept hearing it as Cerberus.
Cerberus. Bless you. Celine's upstairs. Or Melissa's upstairs.
But sick.
She's not really sick. She's tired and she didn't want to hang out today. So, and that's fine. So that's a pretty good recap of season 1, I think.
I could do an Anulo Noir recap on, like, I could do a recap on my TikTok or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. At some point, like we were talking earlier, we've got that Facebook and Twitter now for Xenon Game Labs. At some point, Xenon Game Labs is probably going to have a TikTok also. And I'm not going to be in charge of that, because I'm in charge of way too much stuff already. So if Xenon Game Labs does end up with a TikTok, it's going to be that guy. He's going to be in charge of that, not me. He's more familiar with the format and the platform. TikTok seems to be geared towards a younger crowd. Like, I'll do old people Facebook. You do young people TikTok, you know?
Quick question.
Yeah.
For season 2 of Noir,
Yes.
what level are we going to be?
5.
What level were we when we... No. Oh, we were level 3 when we ended the first season of Noir. So we'll have gained 2 levels.
I forgot the orc's name.
Lutza.
Lutza.
Thank you.
Half-orc.
Half-orc.
Generation half-orc.
Was that the one with the animal companions?
Well, before we cut, she was feeding an owl hatchling in a box.
Yep.
So it was right. So yes, it's
her animal companion.
Funny thing about that is, she's a ranger, but in our first encounter, she beat the shit out of someone with a chair, so they thought she was a fighter.
Yep, that's true. You straight up beat somebody with a chair in that fight.
No, it wasn't a chair. I just punched them.
Oh, was that it? Okay.
Thank you.
So,
I forgot some stuff in Anulo Noir.
I mean, it happens. There's so much stuff that goes on in these campaigns that it's hard to keep track of everything.
But
I'm
yeah,
not the best in the world at taking notes. I am the best in the world at taking notes and then losing that piece of paper.
we would know.
For
Well,
making the notes not really fully make sense.
I mean, you have been working on this campaign, what, 23, 24 years?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, yeah. So yeah, that pretty much covers the recap. Did you guys want to take a break for a couple of minutes and then come back and talk about things that are coming up in the near future? What do you have, Alasia?
this is my D&D notebook.
Oh, yep. Here's my modern.
And this says roll for mental health.
Right. Here's most of the Anulo stuff. Most of season 1 is here.
Jeez.
Oh, we forgot a huge part of season 1, guys.
Oh, what?
when you guys went back to Fart Bottom.
Oh,
So that, yeah, we totally forgot about that.
that's where we ended season 1.
That was a huge part of. So the Dawnbringers and Guzzbug, after the 3-year time skip, not the 6-year, no, the 6-year time skip had happened, and then Guzzbug had become the leader of the goblins in Taurine, but he really wanted to go and liberate his home city of Fart Bottom, so he gathered you guys up as soon as you got back. He was a full-fledged Dawnbringer at this point, and member of the Light Brigade, so he'd been running around with Bully, Errol Flynn, and Red Jack.
He always knew they would come back.
Oh my god.
Because he always knew that they would come back. He never lost hope. And as soon as they came back, he was like, let's go to Fart Bottom and free my people.
Alright.
You guys got there. There was some sneaking around that happened.
Didn't we kidnap Guzzbug's sister, who was under Myconic control?
Guzzbug's sister was under Myconic control, found her, got a spell from lore that would free the goblins from the Myconid's influence. Hey, don't lick your feet.
And
it ended up, the spell itself, lore neglected to mention that the spell required goblin blood, but the goblin that provided that blood would die. And lore neglected to mention that particular cost of this magic. About halfway through, you guys figured out that it was killing Guzzbug, and he told you not to stop. And it killed him. He just disappeared.
Wasn't killed, he was lost.
That's the key thing. He was lost. The prime material plane in Anulo is not directly attached to any other plane. All the other planes have to go through a place called the In-Between.
AKA
The In-Between is a place where all lost things go, including lost souls. So the Dawnbringers went into the In-Between, down the Mobius Road, barreled through, had some fights and some interesting NPC encounters along the way.
there was a treasure golem fight that you planned, but we ended up bypassing it.
What you don't understand is that the In-Between is a huge chunk of this notebook, and you guys blew through it so fast because you just wanted to get to Guzzbug.
We wanted our goblin, man!
That was kind of funny.
I sent a message.
You
By
did.
telling Travis to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about Travis. He'll show up later.
In that sneaking around part, we also had to grab a Myconid for experimentation. Jamu snuck into a room where a Myconid was sleeping and coup de grace him.
Yep, that was the first time anybody used a coup de grace.
And it's been the only time so far.
Nope, there's been another one.
Yeah, nice.
Anyway, they went to the In-Between. They were in a huge hurry because they just wanted to save Guzzbug. Most of the people that live in this house didn't speak to me for several days after I killed Guzzbug.
Oh yeah, I'm still pissed at you for that.
They were, you guys were big mad. Like, I thought I was going to have to sleep on the couch. For real.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, because I had bounced that idea off of you before I actually did it. And you were like,
which is why Liana was able to say, no, he's not dead, he's lost. Things that are lost can be found.
Right.
In the In-Between.
So, yeah, we forgot about that.
Guzzbug made a daring escape from the reincarnation crystal thing. We found a library of lost knowledge.
Yeah.
Sylviana apparently has a plan to trap lore there.
She's got 12% of a plan.
And then we escaped the time storm, but Okanadi lost one of his stumpy little arms. He's got like 6 of them.
He has 4 arms. He has 2 regular ones and then 2 little T-Rex arms underneath.
And Mark lost a foot.
Mark lost his foot. But when you guys went to Daid in the break, he made himself clockwork armor, which includes a new foot,
You know, I actually
which you
wanted.
guys have not
Has
seen.
like jump pack in it.
Yeah, it's got rockets in it. You guys haven't seen him use that yet, but it definitely does. That's one
He's
of
a
the
cross
abilities he
between
takes.
Iron Man and the Thing at this point.
I wanted to have Shellick be like Jarvis. I'd be like, hey, Shellick, can you figure out how much time has passed? Or,
Jamu is constantly trying to talk to Shellick Ratan, and Shellick Ratan is not interested.
he stopped. He hasn't talked to
He-
Shellick since
He
Hata
gave
Healy.
you some powers and then let you go on about your business,
Oh,
You're
I've got
doing
plans
good
for.
things with him, so he's not interested.
right?
I have plans for Jamu that I haven't even told you yet. I've actually gone to one of my teachers, who's basically a friend at this point, fellow nerd and DM, Mr. Diego of Barry Goldwater. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
You ain't got to tell everything about your life.
but basically, he's my friend. I've been bouncing some ideas of Jamu off of him, and he's given some pretty good feedback. And we mostly just talk in the mornings before work.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's fun. Apparently, his players have infiltrated a slave ring and fought an amethyst dragon.
No dragons in a new low.
Or horses, for some stupid reason.
So, yeah,
Not
there's no
unicorns,
dragons.
though.
Unicorn? Really?
There are unicorns.
There are unicorns, but no horses.
No, there's no horses.
What is...
But there are unicorns in Southern Dismas.
There are unicorns in Southern Dismas, that's true.
Yeah, but Southern
Or
Dismas...
at least, that's the story. Speaking of which, you guys want to take a break for a couple of minutes? Let me eat my Baconator.
Let's eat your Baconator.
I know, right? And then we'll come back and we will talk about... We'll briefly talk about the things that we have coming up in the coming months. And then we'll just do, like, some Q&A stuff.
If anyone's even here.
We have 2 viewers on Twitch right now, and they're both on that screen right there. So there won't be any live Q&A, but I didn't really expect there to be. So
Alicia might have some questions.
I know exactly.
We could do some Q&A for your Chronicles.
We can do Q&A with just us too. Like if there's stuff that you guys have always wanted to know, or I actually have a few questions that I want to ask about your specific characters, like backstory things that even I'm not fully aware of. So maybe get into some of that a little bit too. So let's break for a few, so I can eat my food. And that means we'll come back at, say 20 minutes. We'll come back at 5. Does that work for you guys?
Cool.
Baller. Okay. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
You know,
And we're back. Once again, if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you. Like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up and the bells and all of those things. You can find us on Twitch.
I didn't see bells.
There's a bell on YouTube. If you click the bell, it notifies you when we upload a video or whatever.
Oh, that bell.
Notification bell, yeah. Xenon Game Labs on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Like, subscribe, follow, do
We're
all of that
working on
good
the
stuff.
TikTok.
And possibly a TikTok in the near future. Speaking of things that hopefully are coming in the near future, I don't know what that is.
Ignore that.
That's that thing we were talking about during the break. Y'all ain't got to worry about that. So things that are coming up in the future, we have been playing with the idea of some of the maps that I use on a week-to-week basis. We've been playing with the idea of dropping those onto Drive-Thru RPG, just as a way that you can go in and download those maps for your personal use in your home games. Probably going to set it up as one of those situations where it's pay what you want. So if you like what we're doing and you want to support that, you can hopefully in the very near future start doing that with the maps. Deep working on the first adventure module that is set in the world of Anulo, but maybe 20-25% of the way on that. We still have a lot of work to do on it, but
I'd say about 33.
33. We're 33% done with the writing on it, but then we have to do layout and get some artwork in there and stuff like that. So it's going to be a while. I don't really have a goal for that, but that kind of leads us directly into what we were going to talk about next, which is things that are upcoming in the near future on the stream and on the YouTube videos. So the Sun Chase is almost over. After the Sun Chase, like we were talking about earlier, what are you doing, dog? What? Don't do that. Just chill. Just be cool. You can't have gushers. Gushers are not dog food. Anyway, so the Sun Chase is quickly coming to an end. At the end of the Sun Chase, I'm going to step back into a player role. We're going to go back into Anulo Noir, which is set in the city of Hatahili, which we visited as one of the stops on the Sun Chase this season. Noir, gothic horror mix. We did a first season. It was like 6 sessions or so that Michael ran, and he's going to be running the next Anulo Noir, which is Fear Chronicles. That's going to come up directly at the end of the Sun Chase. After that, we will probably get back into Dawnbringers proper for a while. And then Patrick, who plays our cleric Mark, is going to step into the DM chair. And he is going to be running a mini campaign that'll probably be about 3 sessions long that we are calling Anulo Consequences. And Consequences is basically going to be the beta test for the adventure module. Like, I'm going to finish writing this adventure module, I'm going to hand it to him, and he's going to run our party through that adventure module. So that one might be a little rough. We might have to fix some stuff on the fly. We're some of the
play testing.
It's play testing is what we're going to be doing, but hopefully it'll still be entertaining. We'll still be able to do it. So that's probably going to be next summer before we do Consequences, just because it'll be way easier for him to run that game here rather than over the internet.
There.
Speaking of
Especially with as crap as his internet connection is.
his internet's rough sometimes. Speaking of figuring out how to do everything online, shortly after the little 3 to 4 session Anulo Consequences campaign that Patrick's going to run, Corinne's going to jump into the DM chair, and she's going to be running.
A one-shot, right?
It's not a one-shot.
It's not a one-shot.
This is almost a mini campaign on its own. We're not really sure how many sessions it's going to be yet. At least 6, maybe double that. We probably could play in this world as long as we wanted to, honestly. So that one will run for a while. That's going to be. It's still set in the world of Anulo, but in an area that we have not visited before, the city of Twinport in southern Dismas. And that one's going to be called Strangers in a Strange Land, I believe.
Yep.
There is also one little mini campaign that will be happening with me in the DM chair. There is going to be a short session, probably 2 or 3, that's going to be called Stolen Memories. So that's coming up here pretty soon.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
Stolen Memories is going to be interesting. That's going to that's the reason I asked you guys to save your level 10 character sheet. During the Sun Chase, you guys lost 3 days of time. We're going to go back to when you were level 10, and we're going to recap what happened during those 3 days that you lost and why you lost them.
Thank God.
So that's why I asked you guys to save. I hope that's not giving too much away, is it? Should I just edit the video and bleep all that out? But that's coming at some point in the near future.
I'm actually working on 2 different campaigns that are not actually set in the world of Anulo. One of them is set in a post-apocalyptic year 3014. History's about the same up until 2014. Then magic monsters start to reemerge.
Okay.
Humanity panicked, nuked itself by accident, and now your party of adventurers has to save the world.
No pressure.
There's also the island Armedub, which is a little island in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle in the modern day that is run by a vampiric royal family.
Okay.
And it's going to be a topple the monarchy type of campaign.
Political type campaign, sure.
That's
That's an interesting idea, though, that the reason that ships and planes and stuff disappear into the Bermuda Triangle is not actually aliens, but vampires. That's fun.
The funny thing is,
Although vampires in Bermuda,
Get all those stuff.
are they working on their tan? Aliens and vampires, yes, they're working in tandem.
no, actually, originally, the kingdom was
The
run
vampires are aliens.
Actually, the leader of the rebellion so far is a werewolf royal family that was pushed literally underground by the vampires.
It's Twilight in a tropical setting. Not really, I'm just kidding.
Minus the crappy romance.
Hey, look, man, I roleplay how I roleplay. If I want to do crappy romance, I'll do it. I don't care.
But yeah, I'm working on...
Well, okay then.
So we may or may not stream some of that stuff too, and with those, we may end up running a different system. We may not run this Pathfinder system for everything. We may shift into 5e at some point.
Kids on bikes.
We could do kids on bikes. We could do P&P. We could get into Savage Worlds, especially because a lot of his stuff sounds like it's either modern day or futuristic. So there are systems that would work better for that.
Post-apocalyptic if you take 3014.
I would say Savage Worlds might work best for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if y'all had any questions...
There are systems that work better than Pathfinder or D&D for modern settings. Also, playing around with the idea of running a Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse campaign.
I don't know what string of words to spewed out of your mouth, but they sound fun.
Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse. Corinne, who wrote that?
I'd have to look it up. Hang on.
It's available on Drive-Thru RPG.
As background, my day job, which I mostly work nights, but my job is I do customer service for Drive-Thru RPG. And I got a ticket that mentioned the name while I was chatting with Jason. And the name was just, oh my god, that's flippin' awesome. And he was intrigued by the name, so we went and bought it.
After being told what the overall premise of said game is.
It seems really, really interesting, and I probably should have thrown up the Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse link in the chat and in the description and put the affiliate
Not
ID.
too late.
Yeah, I might do that. I might do that later. You may be able to go into the description and find our link that will take you to Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse on Drive-Thru RPG. It's amazing. The artwork in it is top notch. It's a system.
Like mouse
It's from Shoreless Guys Publishing.
Okay, say again.
Shoreless Guys Publishing.
Okay. So yeah, we'll probably put a link up to that in the description on the YouTube video. It'll have our ID on the end of it. So if it sounds interesting, you should go check it out.
The PDF is $10. The book is $15. Both together is $20.
Yeah, it's not expensive at all, but it's definitely a high quality product, and it looks like a lot of fun. And I would like to at least maybe do a one shot on it one day. Although we would have to get whole new dice because it runs on what do they call them? Fate dice or fudge dice, which are they're 6-sided die, but there's 2 successes, 2 neutrals, and 2 failures, and it's a totally different system than what we run. But I think it could be a lot of fun. And the idea is that you're biker mice, but you're biker mice in the modern world. They're still humans. You're just this little biker gang of mice that inhabits the alleys and the in-between places that small people or small creatures in this sense would go.
So yeah, that's what our plans are looking like so far.
That's where we're headed in the near future. Got lots of things going on. We've been talking about doing some very limited merch. Like Dawnbringer stickers, like the one that I have on the back of my car. That's that.
I want one.
I know you do. Your order's already been put in for that.
What?
I am trying.
Dawnbringer sticker for the back of the car.
I'm trying to convince Corinne to make some more of these guys, which are
These guys.
our healing potions. It's got a
Oh.
D4 in it, and so you actually have a healing potion that you drink, and it's got that D4 in there already.
Our production assistant has perked up.
Assortment of these fours.
Yeah, there's a minor healing potion that's 1d4, there's a standard healing potion that's 2d4, and then there's an exceptional or superior
Greater
healing potion that's 4d4. And so rather than just having an item card that tells you you've actually got a little bottle that looks like it has liquid in it, and the D4 is sealed in there, and that's how you roll it. Those are pretty cool. But I think that's a time-consuming process, so if we ever did sell those as merch, it would be a very limited run. Or might be made to order. I don't know. You're the one that's got to make them. You tell me.
But other than that, I think it's Q&A time.
Let me get some more disposable income by reducing my rent first.
Right? That's fair. Rent is crazy expensive. So,
Out of curiosity, what's the color scheme of the Dawnbringers?
The
What's their banner color?
So the color scheme. Are you on stream? You're on Twitch right now,
I can
right?
see it.
So the color scheme is this. That's the color scheme.
So blue and ambery yellow, gold, orange color.
Blue and gold. Yeah. A dark blue and gold.
We've all got it somewhere on us. We either have it as like a little badge or we have it somewhere on our persons. Like, Jamu straight up got his on his cloak.
Yeah, Jamu has a little Dawnbringer logo that
It's on the back.
holds his cloak shut.
Part of the reason why I ask is because I make chainmail jewelry for fun.
Yeah.
And
knew
I'm
that.
thinking I could just make a bunch of earrings and keychains
Yeah.
about with the merch.
It's options.
Options. But other than that, I think it all that's left
So-
is Q&A. Maybe.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Lasia's here with us today is because she's going to be jumping in probably to some of these mini campaigns, possibly even starting a character in Fear Chronicles, the Noir campaign mini arc that we're going to do here. Probably
Mini.
pretty soon. Like I said, just
I
try to...
know for sure I'm going to be wanting a spot in Mom's game.
Yeah, the one that your mom's running, Strangers.
Strangers in a Strange Land.
That one's gonna be fun.
I'm gonna keep
That's
it small
gonna be
in session.
good.
Keep it small in session numbers, but oh boy, is it's gonna leave lasting effects.
No.
I just realized that you wouldn't be able to see it, but you, Jason, can see it on the Zoom call.
Oh yeah, the earrings. Yeah, unfortunately on Twitch we can't really see it because the television doesn't translate onto the camera as well as I would like. But I've seen some of those earrings that you make like in person. I've seen them face to face. They're pretty cool. So,
So I can easily make some blue and gold ones for you. For Dawnbringer merch.
nice. So yeah, we might sell stuff. Who knows? Could be fun. We also really should sell. So you can never really see them that well on Twitch, but all of us have a T-shirt that has a big D20 on the front of it, and it says "Can I sense motive?" And that's throwback to early season 1 stuff. Mark.
And Mark was constantly trying to sense motive on everything.
Yeah, like, okay, you come to a door. I sense motive. On the door? Yes. Like, it was that bad. He sensed motive on everything, so it kind of turned into a running joke. We ended up, everybody has T-shirts now that say, "Can I sense motive?" So, if we were ever
And
actually...
they all have little patches on the arm.
For what
It has
class?
the B.
Yeah, yours has the B. Mine has
By
like a...
the way, I was the one that got Mom the earring.
I remember that.
I got the star patch.
Mine has like a coat of arms. It's kind of cool. But yeah, if we
the
ever...
princesses have the crown.
Of course.
Okanadi's
What
got
does-
Okanadi's got a big
does
sword on
Okanadi
his.
have?
I think his is just like a big sword.
That makes sense.
And I honestly
That
don't...
makes perfect sense.
I don't remember what's on Mark's shoulder patch.
I think it might be a hammer.
It may be a hammer, because that is his actual melee weapon. So what's going to happen is Alasia is going to come in, possibly in Fear Chronicles in the Noir setting, but definitely for sure in Strangers in a Strange Land. However, trying to go into this completely blind, knowing almost nothing.
Why not?
It works for me if it works for you, but so
It just means that I'm going to have a very different kind of interaction within Nebula if
Right.
I don't really know anything about it, which adds to the fun,
yeah.
based on my perspective.
I mean, you know some things.
I know, like a quarter, like the thickness of a quarter
The-
compared to you guys.
Well, yeah. So, going in blind-ish. Going in blind-ish.
So, if anyone has any questions about any
Not
campaigns,
completely blind, just me without my glasses blind.
It's a cosplay, not a lifestyle choice. I broke things.
You broke.
I knocked the camera over.
and it's not a tilt.
I knocked the camera over. I was trying to get something out of the drawer here, and
Were you trying to get that special medicine?
no, I'm getting a coil.
Is he a
Just getting a vape coil.
robot?
We are now at an angle.
Oh wow. Well, that's not exactly where it was before, but you know.
No.
And I
And now we get to Rugi.
Oh, do we need to see Rugi? Okay. There.
But we got to see Rugi.
There. Now we can see her. As she stares longingly up the stairs, wondering where Melissa is. Okay. She's just
She
gonna lay
what?
in. Cool. She just
Staring up the stairs, looking for where her mama is.
Okay.
Mama's supper.
So let's do questions. There's nobody in chat but us, so there's not going to be any live Q&A. I didn't really expect there to be. Who wants to start? Who has a question?
But how did Jamu wind up going roguish? Being raised in Dawnbringer Hall.
Huh? How did I go roguish?
Yeah.
So let's go back to when Jamu was. It was his first couple of years. He was no higher than about your shin, and he was a little stinky baby. And Luska was constantly trying to bathe him, and he hated bath time. So he figured out how to rogue. Plus, cats are also naturally sneaky, so.
So that's Jamu's rogue backstory, is that he didn't want to take a bath, so he learned how to sneak.
He was also constantly in paranoia that someone or something was going to break into Dawnbringer Hall, so he learned how to not only climb the tapestries and stuff that was on the wall without damaging them, but also how to stab someone in the back.
There you go. That's how Jamu got his roguish nature.
Well, actually, it comes in a couple of different ways. So he learned how to sneak because he didn't want to take a bath. He learned how to pickpocket because sometimes he would get snacks from Luska's kitchen. He learned how to acrobat from climbing the tapestries, and how to lockpick because there were a couple of books he wanted to buy.
So, yeah. Just
Okay.
natural talents, I guess. That's interesting. We never really talked about that before, like why he was a rogue. He just was, because that was the class you wanted to play, and didn't give it a whole lot of...
And obviously he started taking classes for Rogue after he realized he was good for them, because Dawnbringer Hall teaches those kinds of classes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I want to say that it's kind of like the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter, where they're like, where they make you take some kind of test, and they're like, okay, you're a rogue, you're a fighter, you're a barbarian. But of course, you can take whatever classes you want. Like, if you seem more like you're a barbarian, but you want to be a healer, go for it. It's like a freedom kind of thing.
Well, especially back in those days, because it would have just been you, Mark, Beauregard, and Luska. Like, all of your combat training would pretty much have come from Beauregard and Luska. And that would have been it.
But nowadays, you have instructors like Flynn, Errol.
Yeah, well, not Errol, but Flynn for sure. For some reason now I'm just picturing Jamu like sneaking around Dawnbringer Hall and just scaring the shit out of Mark every time he gets an opportunity. He just bounces around a corner and scares the shit out of Mark. Just to mess with him, just because it's funny and because he can.
Hold on, if you have ever seen those like cursed cat images, like the cats making smug faces or they're like in weird positions, yeah, that's Jamu. That's just Jamu. Now I actually have a question for Sylviana. Were you actually there during the walk to the Feywilds?
Of course. I was forced to go, but they couldn't make me stay. That's why I knew about the in-between. That's why I was able to know what not to do.
Okay.
Don't leave the Mobius Road.
Yeah.
So how old? Like, elves in Anulo are
ageless.
They're ageless. They're not immortal. They can be killed, but they are definitely ageless. Sylviana's careful. So she's how old at this point? Somewhere in the neighborhood of a little over 10,000 years old. Something like that.
11.
10 or 11? 1,000? 10 or 11 millennia. You know, no big deal. And I think,
More than 10, less than 11. It gets fuzzy after a few centuries.
yeah, I will be celebrating what I think is my 46th birthday this year. After you've had a certain number of birthdays, you kind of just stop paying attention. At 45,
Yes, it will be your 46.
I'm 45, so I'm there. I can only imagine, like, oh, it's your birthday. How old are you? I don't know. Like, it's a very Doctor Who type thing. Like, he loses track of how old he actually is, so he just starts making up numbers. And how many canon husbands has Sylviana had in this time? Did we figure 12?
Actual husbands, there have been 12.
And outside of that,
Not husbands, there have been hundreds.
hundreds. Sylviana is single-handedly responsible for the half-elven race that exists on Anulo.
Yep. Every elf kind is her descendant.
Yep,
Every elf kind in Anulo.
that's right. That is correct.
And humans are not the only ones that are genetically compatible with elves.
No, orcs, dwarves, gnomes, even.
Halfling.
If you could find a halfling. There's not many of them left. So basically, you know, we talked earlier about those old races and how they just kind of left. The orcs and the halflings didn't just leave. The orcs were hunted to almost extinction because they were dangerous. And the halflings were hunted to almost extinction during the dark times because they were easy prey. So there's not a whole lot of orc folk or halfling folk outside of Hattahili. You will run into a few of them in the Hattahili area, but that's about it. So yeah, not very many of them running around at this point. No TikTok on stream. Okay. So I'll ask a really open-ended question. Once the sun chase is over, what do you guys want to do after the sun chase ends here pretty soon? Like where would the Dawnbringers, or where would Sylviana and Jamu want to go? Which one of those open-ended problems that exist in the world would you guys be most drawn towards at this point, I guess?
I think Jamu would start investigating the Shadowed Islands.
The Parasite Island?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely an existing problem, for sure.
He's going to be looking into it.
For me, it's a tie between further investigations in the in-between.
Right.
And which it all ties together. And taking lore to the Library of Lost Knowledge.
Yeah, you guys found that huge library where all lost knowledge is held in the in-between. And with him being,
maybe he'll learn some empathy.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but okay. Yeah.
Anything's possible.
So, okay. What other? So those are the ones you guys would be most interested in, for sure. Heading back.
And
to
there are a
in-between.
few different things that can progress forth from the in-between.
Oh yeah, I mean the in-between is connected to every other plane of existence. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. I could run an entire campaign in the in-between.
Everything that has ever been lost
Yeah,
is in the in-between.
pretty much. And that's a fun area it's really well fleshed out. And I worked with Corinne a lot on building in between, coming up with ideas, how different things that are lost would manifest in this almost Alice in Wonderland type setting.
So if somebody lost their hope, they can just go, haha, I can go to the in-between. Oh, hey, here's the hope that I lost.
Actually, hope specifically, may I share this?
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hope specifically manifests when lost, manifests as people in the in-between. Most of the people who work at the DMV are lost hope.
Yeah, they're a very pale
Hopeless.
being, almost like a zombie. They're called the wretched.
Yeah, the wretched.
When hope is lost, it manifests itself in the in-between as the wretched. Yeah. The in-between is a really interesting place that you guys didn't really explore all that much because you were on a mission. But honestly, it's pretty well fleshed out. I've got a lot here on it.
Yeah, you did a bang-up job figuring that one out.
Yep.
Like the beholder that we ran into. Beholders are the embodiment of lost vision.
Yes, they are. His name was Ivan.
Huh?
His name
Ivan,
was
yes.
Ivan, yeah. And they're not evil. These beholders are not pure evil. Yeah, it was Ivan. Ivan and his partner Kevin. That ran the Umbilicus Ranch. They breed and raise and sell.
They don't breed, they raise.
Right. But they cultivate these umbilicus worms that their meat is used in religious ceremonies because of its psychoactive properties.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the whole thing. You guys had to fight off the hunger, which is
Lost appetite.
when somebody loses their appetite, it manifests in this place, and then a lot of lost appetites grow together
Merge
into this
into one all-consuming nastiness.
Right, and all it does is eat. Uh-oh. I heard a weird noise. I don't know what happened. Oh. The microphone died, I think.
I don't know. You sound fine.
Do I? Okay. Yeah, I guess it wasn't the microphone. It wasn't the camera. Who the hell knows? Computers do things, and I don't understand what's happening most of the time. So,
Anyone have any questions for New Noir or anything like that?
I'm good on a Nulo Noir, but I know quite a bit because, like,
Working with them on developing it.
yeah, we worked together to build like a Nulo Noir. The city we did together. The actual story, like, I might have had snippets here and there of things that might happen with the story, and I have a little bit for Fear Chronicles too. Like, Jason knows, but my character doesn't.
So
And I normally do pretty good about separating those two things, and like Corinne and I worked a lot on getting the city of Twinport put together and the whole political structure and how this part of the world works. But as far as story beats and specific things like that, I don't really know much. Like I have wild speculation at this point as to what's going to happen in that one. I do know the actual, but do you want to go ahead and tell the actual kind of basis for that? What's actually going to be happening, or are we going to?
Well, in the Strangers in a Strange Land game,
Yeah.
that is going to be the players as themselves find themselves in a new flow.
So me, as Jason, will wake up in a new low. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I just realized that Shane can't see it, but I'm visiting with a metal raven skull necklace.
Nice. So,
I have spines.
I do have one question about strangers. Should I go back and reread some Mark Twain before we get into this?
This is not Connecticut, Yankee, and King Arthur's court.
It's a similar idea, though. Like you
Yeah.
just, a modern day person, the actual us, wakes up in this fantasy world.
We gonna die.
It's kind of a Narnia type of situation too, really. You know?
Yeah, but the thing is, there are numerous things numerous books, short stories, etc., legends of people finding themselves in the fantastical.
Yeah.
Just this time, it happens to be the world that you created, and everyone except Alasia has been playing in.
Right. That's going to be fun.
And when we mentioned lore for the first time, and I mentioned how that was going to get interesting, and I kind of looked off to the side, that's because I work with a goddess of wisdom by the name of Athena, who
Right.
I'm somehow going to be pulling with me into Manila. The
Well-
lore's going to have some competition.
I mean, the idea is that we bring everything with us that we have. So we're going to wake up in Anulo in our pajamas, right? That's pretty much how this is going to go down.
I'm debating on that. It may be a case of you walk through a door and the other side of the door is not what it should be.
Is that door at the back of a wardrobe?
No.
Should I reread C.S. Lewis? I kind of feel like I want to reread Neil Gaiman's Elsewhere, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, probably one or two
Is
of the
it Elsewhere or is
Narnias.
it Neverwhere?
Neverwhere, that's it. Thank you. I messed up a Neil Gaiman.
Which actually does bring up the question, wait, are we bringing everything that we actively have on our person into now? And that brings up the question, how the fuck would my hearing aids work in there?
If you have them in, they would work.
No, I mean, like, how would being in a completely different world impact the way they function?
Wouldn't.
Well, we've never gotten into there being any difference in like air quality or gravity or physics. Even though Anulo has 5 moons and 2 suns, we've never
We haven't
really
gone over the effect on the tide, for example.
tides or like time zones. We don't really mess around with much. We've never really fleshed out a calendar or anything like that for this place. It just sort of is.
Part of the reason why that is because I don't always bring hearing aid batteries with me.
I'm
And
not going to screw you over that much.
fair.
You need them to function effectively.
Right. And I still have the question, if I go to sleep and I wake up in Anulo with my pajamas on, do I have my cat on my head? Because that's where he sleeps, is like right here on my noggin. So do I have him as well? Patrick said no. That's because Patrick's not thinking about it, and he could have Rougarou, and Rougarou can eat goblins and stuff.
She would turn into a dire pit bull.
A dire pibble.
And
Rougarou, you want to be a dire pibble?
Rue would become a dire pit bull. Rocket would become, Jesus Christ, I don't know, a saber tooth?
He'd just be Rocket.
Or he'd become a feline. That'd be real confusing.
We did have a conversation about that at one point where it was like, because in Anulo, domestic house cats no longer exist.
They are feline.
But they
feline
became
at
the
this point.
feline.
So everybody in Anulo would see a domestic house cat and be like, what the hell is that thing?
Can you imagine Jamu meeting Rocket or Ron? Like, what the hell?
Oh, that would be funny.
Jamu would be like, "What? Why?"
Well,
aren't you
and
like-"
it's worth noting that that's generally the standard rule for these different Anulo campaigns is that Dawnbringers don't show up in Noir. So Dawnbringers probably wouldn't show up in Strangers either. It's the same world, but it's different stories being told in that
The
world.
Dawnbringers
so
do not exist unless we play them. Like, they pop casually in and out of existence.
Right, and so for the Sun Chase, I brought my Noir character in briefly. But it was my character, so it's not like I was taking
And it was
somebody else's.
in his home city.
Right. And it's not like I was taking anybody else's, what character...
Agency.
Say again?
Agency.
Yeah, I wasn't removing anybody's character agency because the character is my character. But for the most part, we try to keep Dawnbringer. We try to keep the stories separate and not have them cross over too hard. Cameo, maybe, but being central to a story, not so much. So that's just a general rule of thumb that we try to use. Rule number 2, no PvP combat in between the characters. Ever.
Yeah, no, we learned our lesson on that one.
Never again. I was told that was a bad idea before we did it. I didn't listen, and that was probably the worst single session we've ever had. It was awful. That's episode 2 of Streaming Into the Void if anybody wants to go back on YouTube and watch our group at the table devolve into a shouting match. It's good times.
It was not pretty.
Mm-mm. It was definitely unfun. And I will never do it again. And Corinne, being the kind soul that she is, has never once said, I told you so, but she told me so. So.
Sorry, I just spilled most of a bottle of nail polish remover across my desk.
Oh, that's not great.
It's suboptimal to be sure.
So I don't think we've got anybody in chat. I'm going to double check real quick. Oh.
Doesn't look like.
Well, there's one person in chat. So yeah, we won't worry about doing live Q&A. We don't get a whole lot of people that watch us live. We don't get a whole lot of people that watch us, period, but I didn't really expect
More than
it to
I
be.
thought we did.
What's that?
More than I thought we did.
We've been picking up 20-ish views here and there, which is, I mean, that's pretty good. I'm not mad at it. Basically, this whole thing started because I wanted a way for you guys to be able to see the battle maps.
Yeah, the two of us that live in different states.
Right, and I had played around a little bit with Roll20, and I couldn't quite ever really figure it out and get my head wrapped around it.
Well, I need to learn Roll20 for work, if nothing else.
Right, because Roll20 and One Bookshelf, which is...
We're joining forces.
Joining forces, yes, that is happening as we speak. They announced that, just a couple of months ago? Anyway, that's going to be interesting, and we'll probably be using Roll20 for Strangers in a Strange Land, so you'll need to know it for that also. So that's going to be fun. All right. I'm pretty sure we lost this one.
I'm here.
He's just been playing on his phone for like the last hour.
I'm here. I'm just very bored.
Well, go on. You don't got to stay in here. You can be like later and take off. It's fine. We're just about done anyway, I think. I don't think we had too much to cover other than that.
Any other questions about strangers
No.
I don't think so.
or Sill's history?
Sill's history. Oh God.
How many kids?
Oh my God.
Frankly, I like the idea of
There are
opening
hundreds.
Oh my god!
I was gonna say I actually really like the idea of opening a door and, hey, this is not my room. What the heck? And curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Walk through.
Oh my god, Ron would get confused for Jamu so many times. Because,
So what about questions for me?
how would
Let's
you,
finish up with questions for me, which, let me just preface that by saying some of these I may not answer.
How would you handle a feline rocket?
I have no idea. That's kind of why I'm hoping she doesn't make me bring him. I'll stable him. I'll find an inn with a stable and I'll just stable my cat. They're like, no, it's cool. He'll eat mice. You'll be fine.
No, you are not. You know Rocket has abandonment issues.
I also had a second thought about that though, because once many years ago, Rocket got out the back door and he disappeared for like 2 weeks, and then he just came back.
I didn't text you anything. I was gonna ask this. With the Strangers in a Strange Land, are you gonna have us go to sleep and then when we wake up, surprise Vanilla, or is it a case of open a door and hey, this is
I
not
had been thinking the go to sleep version, but to make sure that everyone is at least somewhat clothed, I think me walking through a door is the better idea.
Yeah. Yes, that means I can bring some of my stuff, like stuff. Heck yeah. AKA
I don't know.
personal
I like the
ones.
idea, but well, I mean, I sleep in pajamas, so I know where you're going with this. I like the idea of just waking up and being there. I thought that was
Or it could be a combination of things.
like everyone else has to walk through a door, but I wake up there. Or
Or
some combination.
some of you wake up, some of you walk through a door.
Some of you were walking down the street and were eaten by a grue, and rather than passing into the bowels of the grue, you woke up in a new one. What even is a grue? I never really knew what that was. I just know you were eaten by a grue was it Zork? It was one of those old text-based RPGs from way back in the day.
Think that maybe.
I don't know.
Darn.
That's before even my time. Or at least I wasn't in
It
this.
was from Zork.
I know things.
Hold on.
I never played Zork. I wish I had. Seemed like it was probably a good time at the time.
Yeah, it is pitch black. You are likely to be eaten by a grue.
And is that just how it started? Like you start the game, it's pitch black, you are likely to be eaten by a grue. What the hell is a grue? What? That's a solid open.
Used in modern times as a fictional predator from Jack Vance's Dying Earth universe, described as being part ocular bat, part unusual coon, and part man.
What the heck is this?
A group.
Never heard of that. Until, like, a few seconds ago.
Well, safe to say that if that's before my time, it's way before yours. So.
Okay, wow. As there are references as far back as 1916 in the short story The Waif Woman by Robert Louis Stevenson, which takes place in Iceland, as a greedy woman lies in bed, gloating over the fine clothes she has wrongfully acquired from a recently deceased woman, a grue took hold upon her flesh and the terror of death upon her soul.
All right, then.
Ready for the interweb.
Good job, Google. We're proud of you.
Yeah, this is from knowyourmeme.com.
Ah, of course it is. So.
And you know me, question arises that I don't have an answer to, I
Go and find
the
it.
interweb.
Right?
It's there, might as well, right?
External world brain in your pocket. Good times. So. All right. Anything else for me, or are we going to call it at almost 3 hours? So, yeah.
Aisha, any questions for the Jason? I don't know what to ask because I get a lot of my questions answered during our talk down.
That's true. Yeah, at least you do a good job of separating player information and character information. Because we end up...
Many long years of practice.
Right. We almost end up co-writing this stuff half the time. Because I come up with all these ideas and then we get rid of the more ridiculous ones and the things that don't work. And then we kind of zero in on the stuff that we think does work. Like, okay, well, if they do this, then this could happen, and blah, 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 and we just kind of go down the line. Normally, I'm like Batman when it comes to my session prep. Like, okay, if they do this, I've got this. If they do this, I've got this. And I have a contingency plan for, 14 different scenarios. And then scenario 15, the one that I didn't think of, is usually what you guys do. So thanks for that.
That's called players.
It's called players. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But, I'm still pretty new at all of this, so I'm kind of learning as I go.
For what it's worth, I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And I've had a lot of GMs.
Yeah. Well, I will do my best to take a compliment, so thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying.
And it's less of a compliment and more of just a true statement.
All right. Stop it. You're going to make me blush. All right.
I think her answer to that is going to be no.
The answer...
My offspring knows me well.
Ah. All right. So, I guess we'll call it there. I don't really have anything else that I can think of as far as recap stuff. We talked about all the things we're going to be doing coming up here in the next year or so. You guys finally got to meet Rougarou, our production assistant, and see her on camera rather than just breaking the cameras.
And all of her adorable health.
She's a pretty cute dog. She's a pretty cute dog. She is bad, but she's cute.
She's a licking monster.
She's a what monster?
Licking monster.
Licking monster, yes. And now she's having dinner.
Frequently, they will be around the table and she will just decide it's time to slurp leg.
Yeah, she has a foot fetish. She likes to lick feet. That's weird. Like earlier today, I was laying on the couch in the game room and she just climbed on top of me, like right here. Started licking me in the face. It's like, okay, this is not what I wanted. So yeah, I think we'll call it there. Let us know in the comments and stuff. We've been playing around with the idea of starting to do Wednesday streams again, where we play. Normally we play GTA Online, and we've Twitch streamed that in the past. It's a totally separate part of the game lab. That's why it's labs. That's why there's more than one. One of them is tabletop, and one of them is video games. There's 2 labs. But yeah, I mean, if people were interested in us getting back into GTA Online, I know Pathfinder and Anulo is not metagaming. Yeah, that's the name of that stream. And I know GTA Online and the world of Anulo and Pathfinder and D&D, those don't really they don't really go together, but you know, it's basically we stream stuff that we're already doing anyway because it's fun, and you know, it's kind of like us inviting you into our game room and into our house and just to hang out with us. So yeah, that's the idea.
Or when you're painting, you could stream.
When I'm painting minis, I might start just putting a camera on the mini and letting folks watch me paint, and I'll probably talk about ridiculous things while I'm doing it. So yeah, that's another thing that we've been playing around with, the idea of kind of expanding the content on the channels into some different areas. So yeah, just let us know. Hit us up on Facebook or Twitter or comments on YouTube, and let me know if that's something you might be interested in seeing. I mean, I'm going to be doing it anyway. I might as well put a camera on it and hang out with folks while I'm doing it, right? So, yep. We're coming up on 3 hours, so I'm going to call it for today. But thanks to everybody who will be watching this on YouTube. It should be up tomorrow afternoon. And looking forward to Alasia jumping into Anulo and playing around with us. See, it'll be interesting to have a whole new person in the group. Should be fun.
I will be slightly late to some of the games.
I know you have a Sunday.
Depending on timing within the year, because I have a Sunday game earlier in the day. But I will for sure be there.
Yep.
Let's hear it for time zone.
Huh?
Let's hear it for time zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. The cuckoo clock is cuckooing, so I'm going to turn the stream off now. And thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you guys next Sunday. We will be playing Pathfinder, assuming we don't have some other weird Say the thing I'm trying to say.
Unforeseen circumstances?
Sure. Assuming we don't have another scheduling conflict. Just because I'd rather not play and do something different for a week rather than, play without...
Trying to play without people.
Right. That's always awkward. Mark comes back next week and he's like, wait, my character did what? Yeah, that's no fun. So yeah, next Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll see everybody back in the world of Anulo then. And these guys will try to defeat the bull, the water bull at the center of the Labyrinth of the Minotaur. So good luck. We'll see you guys
I'm
next week.
hoping.
Okay, bye.